Well, having the dynamic margin product, especially during these times, it's not like in the past. In the past, I think it was more about automation for efficiency.
Yeah.
Now it's about automation and efficiency for survival.
Better for the client as well.
Yeah.
It helps the client reduce their risk and stop them from over leveraging.
So I think a lot of companies that probably don't use tools like the dynamic margin probably felt the strain from the volatility that they had. But I think having it really helped us ride that volatility wave. Being able to manage exposure on an instrument by instrument basis kind of gave us that flexibility and comfort to keep providing competitive conditions to our clients while also protecting the company and its interests.
It gives you the flexibility to run for your demographics, for your market, and I think that's the difference. Not all traders want to trade the same, but also not all brokers need to take the same risk. Some teams have 12 dealers, RTO officers, however you want to describe them, on a 24 cycle. Some companies are running a one-on-one guy. That RTO dealing guy could be doing normal tasks, making sure the system and the clients can trade while not monitoring the leverage situation, and they could get blocked out.
The stability aspect, which is the most important thing. You want to be able to dynamically apply certain margins and certain trading conditions that we said are fair, but also keep the platform stable, keep trading open, not have any downtime, and make clients feel like, trading is normal as usual.
It allows the client to stay in the market longer, managing and helping the broker with the risk, but also allowing the client to continue trading. Because that 3,000 to 1 in volatile times will not be available. That's the reality. So instead of getting rejected, the system can auto-calculate you in, keep the client in the market trading, maybe not to the same value they'd want to, but it still allows them to be in the market. Which is, let's be honest, that's what we're all here for.
If you look at the market conditions right now and the way the market is moving and the volatility we have around is something I would say is a life-saving in terms of the risk management, in terms of the providing the suitable margins without without affecting your risk profile and stuff like this one. Absolutely wonderful.
I mean, it wouldn't be possible to emulate what the plugin does, right? I think like manual intervention is often too late. The risk has already come and passed. A huge exposure, fast falling market with a client like with a huge stop out risk. There's too much for us to like look at every day without having to worry about like the foundational stuff like leverage. So this allows us just to be a more proactive team, to think about risk in advance and just like configure all of our systems, including PLUGIT, so that we can, focus on the stuff that drives, real results, as opposed to having to worry about the continual headache of like managing like credit risk because we don't have a real leverage policy in place.
First of all, PLUGIT is very capable, I think, as a company, and they have a very good experience. And plus, I think that the product they have, this one, it's been there for a very long time. A lot of brokers are using, so they got a lot of feedback. They did a lot of improvement working on this one. Building something new, I think it's very challenging, and especially building a perfect product is especially very challenging. That's why I believe the dynamic margin from the PLUGIT is one of the best.
Okay. As a broker, you specialize in liquidity, onboarding, managing clients, helping them trade, making money from them trading. You are not a development company. If I want my plumbing done in my house, I don't rip the walls out and try and do it myself or watch a YouTube video. I pay a man.
You need a lot of resources to build this kind of products and this kind of mature products internally. And it's not something very easy and possible for the small brokerages or the brokerages. They don't have enough resources or I believe enough experience building such kind of complicated risk product.
What you'll find with a lot of in-house developers is they don't actually understand the brokerage all in itself. It's very hard to find somebody who knows development, knows software development, knows what the broker's needs are, because they understand it from the broker's point of view, from their client's point of view, from a trading point of view. And I mean, with PLUGIT, we haven't had that issue because they already understand all those things. So you're not.
That's where I think the PLUGIT has an edge because they got a lot of experience. They have got a lot of feedback from because they have a huge client base. So they got a lot of feedback, improvement. So that's where I think their product stands out.
It's like, this is what they specialize in. There are companies out there who are willing to spend hundreds of thousands. But my opinion is always this: whether you're, as a company, your objective is to IPO, as an owner to make money, shareholder out, or whatever else, owning your own tech adds very little value to your bottom line. What adds the money to your bottom line is being able to make money from the data and the clients you have.
Broker, they got different type of clients, risk profiles, everybody sharing, different feedback. So that really helps to, improve the product.
Because they're the ones speaking to multiple brokers, they probably heard this problem down the line. We've all worked at multiple brokers where we've probably heard it ourselves, but sometimes it's knowing the solution to understand the problem. Everyone can understand the base, but if you don't know how to get to the problem, and that's one of the key points, PLUGIT kind of like take that skill, the skills of the tech, take the knowledge of everybody, and try and pair them together to get that homogeneous kind of natural cooperation of discussions and moving us along to a good point where we can use the tech to, let's say, more of its capacity and ability.
So you're not coming into the conversation trying to explain, some of the issues that you have or some of the dependencies that you have in the current platforms that you're using or some of the rigidness that we talked about. That's already covered and they already understand it. So you're able to start the conversation right away of how do we make this better? How do we apply the, the tools that we need? How do we make this automation, scalability, all of that? How do we just make it go to the next level? So you've already skipped the whole initial part, which has made it really helpful on the communication side with them.
PLUGIT is having the right persons in the right job that can make this seems like it's a seamless process. They do have their expertise, they know what they are doing, and the most important thing for me is that they are client-oriented. I mean, they are not just trying to sell their product, they are trying to support your specific needs and enable you to make the most out of the application that you are using.
The most important thing for a client is to always be trading. So the worst thing that can happen to a client is they try to place a trade and it's not possible for some reason. Leverage, not enough funds, whatever. So the most important thing is always to keep a client able to trade.
It gives you the ability to handle clients in cases where there is danger in the market and you need to protect yourself. Like, for example, when the market is opening, when you have news that is gonna make the market a bit more volatile than usual, when you want to control specific clients in order to protect from a risk perspective the company. When you have clients that are coming all together for many reasons and you want to set a limit on what exposure they're gonna use. You have the ability to do that through dynamic margin.
Oh, it massively helps. Otherwise, you'd be doing it all manually. You'd be looking at every single client and IB network and trying to reduce their leverage. And then if you're going to reduce their leverage, you have to probably send them some type of notification. So you just put your dynamic margin settings in the client agreement and away you go.
Brokers would have to be more reactive to the market conditions and to the exposure that they get to the volatility. Whereas now with the dynamic margin, we're able to react proactively. And by removing that human aspect and that human bottleneck that could cause those issues of maybe downtime and instability, having this, quick reaction and working proactively with the dynamic margin helps us to remove that human aspect, apply changes dynamically, on the go, quickly as markets are moving. And it's really helped the team a lot manage risk and exposure very well.